Hey, everybody. We want to welcome you to the 31st Internet Broadcast Network, and we are doing our fourth Power Hour. And if you're interested in finding out where you can listen to the archive, I want you to mosey over to the Power Hour Broadcast, Danny L. Smith group on Facebook. That's the Power Hour Broadcast, Danny L. Smith, and that's a Facebook group. You can go over as public. As soon as you click to join, we'll add you. But if you happen to be on live tonight, we're glad to have you. But we're in the fourth podcast tonight, and we're going to be reviewing the law of awareness, and you must know yourself to grow yourself. So, Danny, at this point, I'm going to let you take over, and please include me in the conversation with some questions and Q&A, and I'll be happy to
Herdy, just tell me to shut up anytime you want to, and if you got a question. But that's there's a quote. This is out of the book. By the way, this law of awareness is out of John Maxwell's book, The 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth. There's a quote in there by a man named James Russell Lowell that says, "No one can produce great things who is not thoroughly sincere in dealing with himself." Think about that. No one can produce great things who is not thoroughly sincere in dealing with himself. You know,
that knocks that,
what's that?
That knocks that about 80%, doesn't it?
Yeah, all of our excuses right out the door when we start trying to blame others, blame the environment, blame technology. You know, there's three things I do not like to talk about because I can start whining about all three of them. One is the speed of my computer, two is traffic, and three is the weather. Because it doesn't matter. Anything I want to say about it, I'm whining. It's either too hot or too windy or too this and too rainy. It's blah, 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 blah.
Okay.
No one can produce great things who is not thoroughly sincere in dealing with himself. I'm sitting with a group of guys this morning. You might have seen this quote on my statement on Facebook, but our friend Dr. Owens threw a question out there. What is it that's hindering you from doing business? And he went on to explain, he was asking, what barriers have you put up? And I thought about it, and it was interesting. As we started talking about it, we all started talking about what barriers we had already overcome. And one of the guys at the table said, "Hold on, guys. That's not what he asked. What he asked was, what barriers, what are you doing to hinder your own business right now?" My first thought was, I'm doing pretty good. I've overcome this and I've overcome that. And then I thought, okay, what have I not overcome? And Herdy, by the end of, there's a 30-minute time period there, and at the end of 30 minutes, no joke, I wrote down 11 things that I was likely being hindered by, that I was causing. And which is interesting, that's this lesson that we said last week that we were going to cover. Just kind of as an overview of the book, John throws out some things here. He says, do you have a sense of direction? He says that he's observed that there are really only three kinds of people when it comes to having direction in life. One, people who don't know what they would like to do. It kind of goes back to what we talked about. Was that last week or 2 weeks ago? Don't know what you don't know. But here it's people who don't know what they would like to do. Two, people who know what they would like to do but don't do it. And three, people who know what they would like to do and do it. Now, that's a, I mean, good grief. If one, let me say me, I start going through that. Let me go on to something here. John says that people who don't know what they would like to do, they're often confused. But people who know what they would like to do but don't do it, they're usually frustrated. But people who know what they like to do and do it, the word that best describes them is fulfilled.
Yeah.
So either confused, you just don't know what you want to do, so you're just confused. I think those are when I'm confused, I'm complaining about the traffic and the weather and my computer. I'm harping on those things, and other things, it's kind of a blame deal. And I'm just really confused about what's going on, and what I'm doing or not doing. So, what do you do in this? This law is the law is a law of growth, and to grow yourself, John says you must know the following. You've got to know what your strengths are. You've got to know your weaknesses. You've got to know your interest and your opportunities. Strengths, weaknesses, interest, and opportunities. Now, I believe that when you really know your strength, weakness, and interest, your opportunities start appearing. A lot of times, because we haven't figured that out yet, and I think too many of us are always trying to improve a weakness instead of just focusing on a strength. I don't do well with a lot of admin stuff, but I've got admin I need to do, admin work that needs to get done. I know what my strength is, I know what my weakness is, and if I can't delegate those weaknesses, which I have a great team in the mortgage business. I have a great team that they take care of a lot of the processes. If there's a problem, one of my strengths is the knowledge of the mortgage business. I've been doing it for 33 years, so I have a lot of knowledge. I know where to go to find that knowledge that I might not have. A lot of times I have the knowledge that causes me to ask a good question. But I let my team take care of everything that needs to be taken care of, handling problems. That's a strength of mine, so I handle that type stuff. And when I do all that, opportunities seem to start presenting themselves. Make sense?
Makes sense.
Okay.
I get it.
Going on. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, those four things are important if you're aware of them.
Yeah. And if you're going to reach that potential, you're going to grow. You're right. You've got to be aware of them. You've got to be aware of, it's like that. It's like when Jason asked that question this morning.
Right.
I wasn't thinking about what was going to hinder me today. I wasn't thinking about what barriers I had put up to my business. But, and I'm pulling up that list here, but when he did ask that, and I started working through it, I started asking myself the question, okay, what barriers do I have? Well, one that popped up was that I've been accused of being too intense and too methodical and not approachable. Well, I think I'm not approachable because sometimes I'm too intense and too methodical. When we're too efficient, now I'm not accused of that, but when I'm thinking of somebody I was talking to recently, and they were asking for some advice, and I said, stop being so efficient. Everything's efficient. I said, I'm methodical, but I'm not necessarily real efficient. So it does lighten the load when people are around me. But if you're always efficient, people like me who are that more of an extroverted type, we don't feel like you're just checking the box when you're dealing with us.
Got it.
So, awareness. I've been talking to somebody about accountability recently, and he asked me, he said, could we meet or talk once a week around some accountability things? And I said, sure. And he said, I need somebody to hold me. I said, what are you trying to accomplish? He said, I need somebody to hold me accountable. And I said, has that ever worked before for you? He said, not really. And I said, what makes you think I can help you? And he said, I don't know. I'm wanting to try it again. And I said, you understand, I can't hold you accountable. It hasn't worked because nobody can hold people accountable. Other than, and if we cut them a paycheck or we own their car, we buy their food, our kids or employees, we can hold somebody accountable to the point that they quit or they move out. But accountability is I give somebody permission to be accountable. I give somebody permission to ask me accountability questions. The awareness around that is much different. And I don't really want to get off into that rabbit trail here. But, John says that to reach our full potential, we have to know where we are, and we have to know where we want, or who we know who we are and who we want to be. Now that can be pretty difficult sometimes. I don't know what I want to look like, who I want to be. Tom Watson, the founder of IBM, gosh, this is, I think, back in the 30s. He was very specific. He wrote down in 20 years what he wanted IBM to look like and act like. He knew exactly who he wanted IBM, who he wanted it to be. And for years, IBM, that served them very, very well. They, he had a very distinct vision there of, I'm sure, who he wanted to be. But we can always start off with where we are and who we are right now. There's so many assessments out there. Over the weekend, you and I were talking about a while ago, it's kind of a semi-lazy weekend. Exercised quite a bit, but didn't get out to go anywhere. Looking through, catching up on stuff, refiling some things online that I just kind of filed in a bucket, and then started moving them into the proper folders. And I started looking at some different assessments that I've taken that show me, based on how I answered those questions, who I was right then. Kind of defined a little bit about where I was right then. Book says here, the law of awareness, that there are three kinds of people when it comes to finding direction. People who don't know what they would like to do. Oh, I've already covered this. They're confused. People who know what they want to do but don't do it. They're frustrated. People who know what they want to do and do it, they're fulfilled. So, moving on here, how to find our passion and purpose. The need for personal awareness. What does it mean to be personally aware? Nathaniel Brandon says the first step towards change is awareness. The second step is acceptance. I think we have to be aware of, we have to confront the reality of where we are right now. Do you like what you're doing now? What would you like to do? John says here, when you tap into your passion, it gives you, he calls it the energy and excellence factor. Says that you will never fulfill your destiny doing work you despise. Passion gives you an advantage over others because one person with passion is greater than 99 who have only an interest. And passion gives you energy. That's been a big thing now. You've heard me teach parts of this book numerous times. I've been through the whole book I've been through it by myself twice. I've been through it in 15 or 16 different masterminds where I've reread the book and gone through all 15 laws and lessons in the book. And when I get down during the day, I'm really engrossed in paperwork and the administrative side of my job, that needs to get done. It's stuff that I can't delete or delegate. Then I will take breaks every once in a while to do something that energizes me. Okay, go back to that law of environment. I might just get on my treadmill for 10, 15 minutes with a certain type of music on. I'm going to do something that energizes me to get me back, to carry me through those tedious tasks that I don't do well.
Hey,
what's that?
So on that point, B, what does interest versus passion look like? Any idea how to formulate a visual picture of that?
Interest versus passion?
Yeah, an interest would be something like, I'm interested in that thing. A passion would be you pick it up, look at it, take it apart, put it back together, enjoy doing it. I'm just trying to figure out what that visually looks like.
That's a good question. I'm not
and I guess the next part of it would be...
I'll say this. I have an interest in exercise, but I have a passion to lose weight right now and get in shape. Okay,
gotcha. All right.
Okay. An interest is something that you're interested in. And I'm trying to remember something our friend Scott Carley says, that there's something we have an interest in versus something we have a goal to do. Okay. He talks around that point a bit, I have a passion for getting out on the water, just being on the water, being close to the water. I have an interest in the boats, pain the butt sometimes. Okay. I don't so much have a passion for the boating as much as I have a passion for being around water. Okay. And just the serenity of the water. I can be on the back of a cruise ship and I'm cool with that. So I have a interest in the mortgage business. I have a passion for helping people.
Gotcha.
The mortgage business is, I've come to realize that it's something that I've done it for 33 years, tried to get out of it a couple times. I'm very knowledgeable about it. I'm very good at it. And I had to realize that my passion for helping people, I can do that through the mortgage business. And once I had that identified, it changed things for me. That make sense?
Makes sense. Gotcha.
So, John talks here about can you do what you like to do, and that dreams are necessary for success, but not every dream is possible due to our natural limits. He has a book, Put Your Dreams to the Test, and pull it off my bookshelf right now, but I think it's, and it's 10 questions to help you see it and seize it, to talk about your dream. And I'm going to read these questions real quick. Is my dream really my dream? Do I clearly see my dream? Am I depending on factors within my control to achieve my dream? Does my dream compel me to follow it? That's the passion question. Passion question, back to your point, is does my dream compel me to follow it? Pathway question, each one of these has, the ownership question, the clarity question, I clearly see it, the reality question, am I depending on factors within my control to achieve my dream? The passion question, the pathway question, do I have a strategy to reach my dream? The people question, have I included the people I need to realize my dream? The cost question, am I willing to pay the price for my dream? The tenacity question, am I moving closer to my dream? The fulfillment question, does working towards my dream bring satisfaction? And the significance question, does my dream benefit others? You think about those things around dreams, and I think our passion is tied to our dreams, one of the things that John's pointing out here. But he also says, do you know why you want to do what you'd like to do? That's the motive question. A lot of times we don't know why we want to do what we say we'd like to do. And I think we have to come to grips with that. And he covers that a little bit, I think, if you can't come up with a strategy, you got to really start questioning your motive. Do you know, moving on here, do you know what to do so you can do what you want to do? That's the what's best next question for me. And which is one of the things I get pretty hung up on is, what do I need to do next? So, this book is just full of so many things. And Socrates said that the unexamined life is not worth living. So the unlived life is worth examining. This was the chapter, when I first read this book 5 years ago, it had just came out, and had gone through I was about about 3 years into a real evaluation of what I was doing. Things hadn't gone well. Had owned a big company, had 400 employees, debt free. We started downsizing with the 2008 economy issues and mortgage problems. And I remember reading that right there. The unlived life is worth examining. And, start examining all that. Eventually, took me a while, but eventually was led to an exercise where we've talked about it, I think, on one of these calls, maybe the first call, is that we, went back through and did a timeline of my life and just the successes that I'd had and what I was doing, how I was feeling, how I was interacting with people, and my behaviors during that time. And I look at that every once in a while, and something else will come to me, even when I'm not looking at it. Normally, I look at it when something pops in my head that I'm aware of, and I'm wondering. So I'll go back and look at it and make some notes about that period of time in my life. So I just want to be more aware of what's going on around me. Not so aware. What I've learned is not to be so aware of the past anymore. Too many times I know I get hung up in the past. So, anyway, here's some things that John says. Awareness: become very conscious of every choice you make. Action: these are the 4 A's, I guess you'd call it. Action: the major difference between those who do it and those who don't do it is those who do it, do it. Accountability: awareness, action, accountability. This can be shared accountability with a friend or coach, or personal accountability by writing things down and tracking your progress. Then attraction: who are the people you're attracting? Are they like-minded in success?
Birds of a feather flock together.
Yeah. Let me look at this. So think about this. Do you know people who do what you'd like to do? Do you know people who do what you'd like to do? If so, well, begin with, you should. If you don't, then start finding people who do what you want to do. Find people who are doing it well. And then do what you can to learn from them. Get committed. If you have to, you pay people for their time and advice.
So in other words, up your ante with the people you associate with?
Yeah. I mean, go and hire. John says it right here. Go hire a coach. Go hire a trainer. Take classes. Be committed to it.
Yeah, hang around people, make more money than you, and ask them how they're doing it.
Right? Absolutely. If you're the smartest guy in the room, you're in the wrong room.
That's right.
And be consistent. Meet regularly with someone who can help you. Be creative. Learn from people even if you can't meet them. Now think about that. He says, be creative. Learn from people even if you can't meet them. In other words, books, tapes, podcasts.
Yeah, right. All that stuff to educate from. Right, without knowing them, but you know them. Got it.
Be purposeful. You're going to meet with somebody, be prepared. The class I take from you once a month, the Business Warrior class.
Right.
I'm listening to I'm paying attention to your post. I'm answering your questions between the classes, but getting ready for the next class. Getting ready for the last week's class. Was paying attention going in, paying attention there, and then paying attention coming out of it. Okay, I want to be purposeful about that. I'm taking a class from Michael Mayer, the 7 levels of communication guy, and got 2 30-minute sessions with him a week, and I'm preparing. I've got my homework. Now, most of this is a refresher. I've read his book first time about 7 years ago. I've paid attention to a lot of it since then. Read the book again a few weeks ago, I felt I needed a refresher. But I'm being very purposeful. And go back to I've never met Michael Mayer. Don't know that I will ever meet Michael Mayer, but I'm learning from him. Be reflective. John Maxwell says here, be reflective. Reflect on each encounter and discover what you are learning. I told you last week. I think I posted on your Facebook group. You asked a couple of questions, kind of messed me up, kind of got me down a different path. And I want to say this again. I say it, I think, most of these calls. I go into something trying to open my heart, open my mind to learn, and to purposefully not agree or disagree. If I agree or disagree, that cuts me off from learning. If I agree, I go, okay, what do I not agree with? If I don't agree, I'll go, what if I did agree? Okay? Or what is Hurdy trying to teach here? What kind of crap do I have going on that Hurdy's, that's keeping me from learning what Hurdy's trying to teach me? I think there's too much inaction. I know when I'm full of inactivity, full of inactivity, I mean I'm being a slug. Okay, when I'm full of inactivity, when I'm not acting on something, it's because I'm frustrated, because I'm confused, because I'm stuck in my own comfort zone. Mm-hmm. We're just full of excuses. Moving on. Then finally, be grateful. Always show appreciation for what you're learning from others. So what John says, do you know people who do what you like to do? Learn from them. Get committed, be consistent, be creative, be purposeful, be reflective, and be grateful. Am I covering the stuff that you think we ought to cover?
Yeah.
Okay. This whole thing about this whole thing about awareness is there's things we're just not aware of, and we think that we are, but we're not. I mean, the older I get, the dumber I realize I really am, because there's more I realize that I just don't know.
And I would think, Danny, that part of awareness is living absolutely in the present moment. Right? You there?
Is that good or bad? Are you saying that's good or bad?
I think that if you're going to be aware, you have to be aware of what's going on in the moment. You can't live in the future. You plan for it, but you can't live in it, and you can't go back to the past and beat yourself up for the present. So I would think that the awareness has to be active, like within the present moment you're in every day.
Yeah, I agree. I think too many times we live in. I think too many times we live in the past. Too many times we're wishing for the future. We're wishing for something to get done. We're wishing for something to change, but we're not willing to live in the present moment to do the action to start making the change to for the future to be different.
Right. And so if you don't have awareness in the present moment, then the future wishes and dreams aren't going to happen because there's nothing going on. So I know a lot of people who try to live in the future. They worry about next month this or that, or where the business is going to be 3 years from now, when in fact, none of that's known. It's great to plan for it if possible, or have some idea of what you want to do, like the guy from IBM you mentioned, but it still takes the being in the present to make that happen. I just see that as, I don't mean you have this awareness sign on that you're constantly, blinking with this alarm of awareness on, but the fact that I think you train yourself. Can't you train yourself a little bit to be aware in that moment? Like you said earlier, you said, we're aware about the choices we make, right? And that would be something. I know in the past I've done a lot of things where I wasn't even aware where it was going. I don't know how to describe it, but so I like that. And being grateful.
Let me say this.
I think being grateful is awesome, because I'm very grateful for the people that I have met that I don't know online. Go back to your Be Creative, right? The research that's out there that I can use to help my business and also help the people I work with. I'm very grateful for the information that it's at my fingertips. It's awesome. Very grateful. It's helped my business. Without it, I wouldn't have it, because I wouldn't learn.
Yeah, exactly.
Very cool.
And so, the next point is, will you pay the price to do what you want to do?
No.
And then that was point number 8. And then point number 9, when are you going to start doing what you'd like to do? Here's a statement in here. He's got most of the accomplishments I've achieved in life I began to attempt before I was really ready. One of my favorite things to, in relationship to this all is anything worth doing is worth doing poorly until you can learn to do it well. Now, that doesn't mean you just keep being a mess. It means that you're improving and you're learning and you're trying to and you're doing an evaluation and correction around this. Something that I forget who he gave credit to on this, but it's what Paul Martinelli calls the cycle of success. Is you do something by testing it, and then when it fails, you learn, you improve it, and you test it again. It's a robust evaluation and correction, a robust evaluation action, evaluation and correction model, I guess is what I would call it. But we have to start doing something. I would imagine that these podcasts, when we get to number 100, they're going to be a lot different, better than number 4 is. And number 200 will be a lot better. Provided we keep doing this every week. Right. What we're doing, out networking. I know my follow-through process that I have, it's improved dramatically over the way I was doing it 2 or 3 years ago. I'm getting ready to do a guerrilla marketing for realtors continuing education class. And I'm calling the 280-something people that went through it 2 or 3 years ago, invite them back again and let them know this is an improved version of it, because I'm constantly working to improve, tested some things, figured out what works best and what doesn't. I think a teaching method is improved. I'm sorry, you going to say something?
I was going to tell you that I'm sure that when you were learning to barefoot water ski, I'll bet you did that poorly for a while till you figured it out.
Oh my gosh, yeah. My bumps on my head and yeah. Yeah, and it wasn't until I started trying to learn. I started learning it from people that really knew how to do it. That, right, and listening to their instruction, that things really changed. Yeah,
and you were able. You actually got into the action part and went through it till you learned a trick or spin or something, right? So,
right. Mm-hmm.
I think that skill, if you relate it to your business, would be similar if you wanted a visual picture of it, right? So I get that. Perfect. At least be doing it. Be doing what you like, keep doing it. That's good. Hope I didn't interrupt you too much there.
No, that was perfect. That was, you got me living in I had to reel myself back in here.
You went back to the past? Oh, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Well, also, when I was playing,
one of the reasons I'm doing all this exercise and losing weight, doing some other things, and building up, my strength and some core, is because I want barefoot again, and
right.
So
there you go.
And that actually brings it real well to John's last point in this law of awareness: is what will it be like when you get to do what you'd like to do? So I have a passion for wanting to barefoot again, and not just one time, but just start barefooting regularly. I have a passion for it, okay? That passion includes, a lot of walking, a little bit of running, improving my core body strength, and just a lot of some light strength training, and so I have a passion for doing all that. But I can think about getting out there on the water, that I love being on the water, right? So the passion there, and and what will it be like when you get to do what you'd like to do? And there's we think about that, and that comes straight out of Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. Goals don't matter. Setting goals, I think there are a few reasons why people don't achieve goals, and I think a big one is they don't think about what it will feel like to achieve that goal, or the fact that the goal's not big enough because the feeling, the emotion is not strong enough to drive you through the pain of what it's going to take to achieve a goal. Any goal, you have to work through pain. Many times we say, I'll say another reason a lot of goals are never achieved. Two other reasons. One is they're too easily set. They're more like resolution. A yearly, New Year's resolution. You just set something. You're not serious about it, and you don't evaluate where you're at. You don't think into where you're going, and most of us don't want to grow to achieve the goal. We just want to achieve the goal. We're not willing to grow to achieve the goal. For me to get from 222 down to 198, it took me a year and a half, but I didn't want to just go on a starvation diet or no carb diet and just boom, fall down. I wanted to change habits. I wanted to move more, eat less, and gradually drop. I went to get a physical last week, and it was a little over a year ago when I was there, and a doctor was shocked how much weight I've lost. And she said, "Is this on purpose?" And I said, "Well, I hope so, but yes, it is." We have to be purposeful about this, and it's one little step at a time. It's not eating, but instead of taking the whole bag of potato chips and sitting down in my easy chair with a sandwich, just put some chips on a plate. And if I have to go get them again, I at least have to move a little bit. So I've got hundreds of little things like that probably. But I think about what it will be like to achieve that goal. And that's one of the hardest things have been for me to do. And mentor Paul Martinelli hammers this. You got to think into what it's going to feel like to achieve the goal. And when you can get a grip on that, the growing will start.
Absolutely. I like it.
Back to this, got some things that, I'm going to post some things about the law of awareness on the blog. On the Facebook site, some things about how to apply it. But maybe we'll end with this. People say there are two great days in a person's life: the day you were born and the day you discover why. I want to encourage you to seek what you were put on this earth to do, then pursue it with all your effort. Now, I realize that sometimes we don't know what that purpose is, and we just have to put one foot in front of another one. And but I think as we put that one foot in front of the other one, we are purposeful about what we're listening to, what we're watching, what we're reading, and who we're hanging out with. And not just purposeful about it, but we do more of it. We hang out with more people that will cause us to grow. We listen to more good books. Come to love Audible. It's just, and the credits I get through Amazon Prime, I don't know how I get those credits, but they pop up and I listen to another book. The books I read, what I watch, cutting out. I'm watching right now probably about 25% of the TV I was watching 6 months ago, and going for walks and listening to recordings. So pursue it with all your effort. All right?
Good stuff,
30?
Man. I like it. Good stuff. And
the law of awareness. Next week we're going to jump into everyone communicates. Nope. Everyone communicates. Few connect. I changed up on you a little bit right there, but I think this is fits more into some other things we're doing, the target marketing in your Business Warriors Mastermind, some other things that we're talking about. Everyone communicates, you connect. We're going to dig a couple lessons out of that book there.
Awesome.
All right, my friend.
Well, you guys have been listening to the Power Hour broadcast with Danny L. Smith. And again, you can find this on the Facebook group page, and it is titled exactly that, the Power Hour broadcast, Danny L. Smith. So look it up. We'll start inviting friends to the group. We've gotten a 4th show up. Danny, thank you so much. It's always good to sit through this. I could sit through this, gosh, I've probably been through it 4 or 5 times, and I keep learning stuff. So this is awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Every time I teach it, it's a spark of energy for me, and it learn new things and the preparation and such. Thanks, Herdy. God bless, man.
All right.
See you.
Have a great evening, my friend.
All right.